Hi, and welcome to another episode of Learn MailChimp. So today, I'm going to show you how to create a sign-up form in MailChimp. So a sign-up form essentially enables you to send a link to your prospective subscribers and allows them to put their own information into a series of fields, which will then feed through into your already created list in MailChimp. Now, if you don't have a list and you don't know what I'm talking about, go and check out my video on how to create a list in MailChimp that I'll put a link to on the screen now. Ding! There's another one of those fantastic sound effects. Anyway, sign-up forms are great because they mean that you don't have to manually add subscribers, you don't have to import lists, and of course you have more variability with a link. So someone could pass it on to somebody else, somebody could forward it, you could put it on your social media, and through all those means, encourage more people to sign up to your email newsletter. Okay, so hopefully you've got the gist of why it's really important and useful to create a sign-up form. Once you're logged into MailChimp, you need to select the list that you'd like to create a form for. So I'm going to choose this list here. There's no one in my list. This is just a demonstration list that I use for these videos. Let's go over here to sign up forms. Okay, so within here you can see that it says forms and response emails. Now, just make sure that sign up form is selected, but you'll notice that there's a whole lot of other options. Today, I'm not going to go over any of those, but I will go over some of these other options in other videos in the future. So just select sign up form. Now this option here says let subscribers pick email format, plain text or HTML. Now it's really up to you whether or not you want to give your subscribers this option. Sign up form URL. This is automatically generated by MailChimp and it will allow you to share this form once you've created it on your social media, in your email, on your website. It's really great in terms of just being able to spread the word about your email newsletter. Okay. So getting to the crux of what we're going to do today, first we're going to build the form and then we're going to design it. So I'm just going to talk you through how to do this really quickly. If you've got any other questions about this, make sure to put them down below in the comment section. This first bit here, I always think it's nice to add a graphic to the top of your form, but it is optional. I also think that a really good size that works well is 600 wide by 250 high. But as you can see here, it says any width and any height. So again, this is up to you. But I'm going to show you how you can upload a graphic into this section. If you just check on here and press change, you'll see that there are already some images that have been uploaded into my MailChimp account, which I uploaded at an earlier stage. But what you want to do is go into upload. Now from here, you want to select the image that you'd like to upload, and then press open. Okay, now that it's uploaded, you'll see that it's displayed it for you in here, and it gives you the option to edit it with Photo Editor. I'm just going to go over this really quickly with you, but have a play around with it, and especially if you don't already have your own photo editing software, like for example, say Photoshop, then this is a really good tool for you. Basically, my image here already suits my requirements. But let's say this is a picture of my face and I didn't really like the fact there was all these sharp lines on it. So if you go over here to the blemish tool, you can select your brush size. You can hold down and kind of go over these awful sharp edges on my face and just soften them up and press apply. Or let's say, for example, you wanted to overlay a moustache on this. You go here, click one of these options, and then you could place it, wherever you want it. And you can also resize it just by squeezing in on the edges. So let's just say something like that. Let's say that you're happy with that and you press apply. Maybe you wanted to whiten your teeth. Same principle again. You just select your brush size, and go over the area that you think is not wide enough with the tool, fix it until you're happy with it, and press apply. Okay, I'm going to undo all of those changes and leave it as it originally was. Over here you can see width 600, height 250. Play around with your own creative to see what you think works best. Okay, so link to URL. So in here I recommend that you just put a link to your website. This form that you're creating via this process isn't actually sitting on your website. It's sitting on MailChimp's website. And this is really great if you don't already have your website set up or you're not quite sure how to do it. It just means you can start collecting people's email addresses sooner rather than later. So I'm going to put in here my web address. Make sure to go there and sign up to my emailer as well. So when someone clicks on your image, do you want it to display in the same window or do you want it to open up a new tab? Click down here for show style options. So let's say you actually wanted to add a border of 5 pixels and you wanted it to have a red color. You could just go through really easy and do that. Alignment, maybe your image isn't 600 pixels wide and so maybe it's actually at the moment sitting over here but you'd like it to be centered. This function just allows you to do that. Alternative text. Now I recommend that you name this something to do with your brand. So I'm just going to put in here Learn MailChimp. So margin, basically, how much padding on the top, right, bottom, and left of your image. That just means you can kind of have some space between it if there's something underneath it or to the side, for example. And then just click on Save and Insert Image. So in here, you have the option of putting a message in that tells somebody a little bit more about your emailer. And I think it's really useful to reinforce the value of your email newsletter and why it is that someone would bother to sign up to it. Say, for example, sign up to Learn MailChimp newsletter and be first to hear about new videos as they're released and gain access to tips on email marketing we only share via email. Within here you have the option to change the font. So how about we make that Rosetta, make it bold, save and close. A few other options in there as well. Just have a play around with it until you're happy with what it looks like. So not only do I think you should reinforce the value of why people should sign up to a newsletter, but I also think that it's good to encourage them by way of saying, if you sign up, you'll receive 10% off our catalog this month, or you get access to a free ebook that we only share via email. There needs to be some compelling reason why people would bother to sign up to your email and something exclusive that they get for being a subscriber. So have a think about that. Okay, so what we want to do now is talk about these fields here and how you can maximize the amount of people that sign up to your email newsletter. The research shows that the least fields there are, the more likely it is that people are going to want to sign up to a newsletter. I'm sure you yourself are a busy person, and the last thing you want to be doing is filling out a form with like 10 different options. So I would recommend keeping it to first name, last name, email address, and date of birth, and only making the email address and the first name mandatory fields. You might wonder why I would recommend date of birth. I think it's really useful to have this information collected, both so that you get a better idea about who your prospective customers are, and in addition to that, because prior to their birthday or on their birthday, depending on what your business is, you could offer them, say, a discount or a freebie or an invitation to something. Think about things like that you can do that will really delight your customers and make them feel positively about having signed up and continuing to read your content and stay engaged with you. Let's get to editing some of these fields. I think that the first field that you display should be email address, but maybe you'd like it to be first name. That's really easy to change. All you need to do is click on the field and then drag and drop it. When you're clicked on a field, you can see on the right hand side there's a column that says field settings. Under here you can see things like field name, field tag, field visibility, whether or not the field is required. So as I said to you earlier, I believe that you should have your first name as a required field along with your email address. And the reason for that is that if you want to send out an email to people in the future, it's really good to be able to say, hey Gertrude, or hey Dorothy, rather than just like, hey. And I'll show you how to do that in another video. So field label, this is just this here. And you could change this. If you wanted to say, yo, put in yo first name, you could make it say that, and that will just change the label down here. Field tag, don't change that. Help text. Now, depending on who your customers are, depends on how much help they may or may not need. And here you could put something like, please put your first name in here. Now this text will just pop up beneath the field and be like a prompt for the person who's putting in their information. So if you're happy with that, just go and save field. Again, we won't cover this off in this video either. Okay, so as you can see, it's updated it, and you can also see that it's put in the prompt. Please put your first name in here. Okay, email address. So same thing again. Field label, field tag, required field, that's automatically defaults to being a required field in MailChimp. Last name, no, I haven't made this a required field. If you'd like to, that's up to you. And date of birth. As I discussed before, I personally think that it's a really valuable field to have, but I don't make it a required field. Date format, depending on where you live, you can have month and date or date and month. Field label, you could change this to something a little bit more friendly, like tell us when you're next a year older. This really depends on who your audience is as to how you talk about them. And then just save field. As you can see, this is pretty much all there is to it. Preferred format, now that just goes back to what we covered off at the start, whether you want to give your prospective subscribers the option to choose the format that they receive your emails in. Okay, so the last couple of things I'm just going to cover off on this before we switch over to looking at some of the design features that you can change is how to delete some fields that maybe you put in that you initially wanted and then on further consideration you decided you didn't. It's really easy. All you need to do is click on the field that you'd like to delete and press the minus button and then type in delete and press delete. You'll see that it refreshes and the new form will appear without that field in it. Another way of going about it is by clicking on the field and over on the right hand side under the field settings column, pressing delete. Again, it will ask you to type delete before it will allow you to do so. Now, what about if your needs are different and actually there's other fields that you'd like in this form? How do you go about putting those in? So let's say, for example, you'd like to collect people's phone number. All you need to do is go up to the top here and click on Add Field. And then you need to choose which field you'd like to add in. So let's say phone. And it populates your form with this field. And again, up here on the right hand column, you can change things around. So just have a play around with it until you're happy. Now let's say, for example, actually you don't like this background color and you'd like it to be white. How do you go about doing that? Up here at the top, just press Design It. And as you can see, you get a number of different options. Let's take, for example, the background. Maybe you'd like to change that color. So what you need to do is go up here and then use the color slider to choose a new color scheme. And then let's say maybe you think, that's not quite dark enough. So all you need to do is just use your cursor and click elsewhere in the little box. And there you have a nice purple coloured form. And you can also change the background colour of the form itself. So you can see here, all I've done is select Design It and then Body. Foreground comes up. And I want to change that from white to, let's say, some really ghastly colour combination, like yellow. Ta-da! Look how unmagnificent that is. There's a whole raft of other things you can change in here. For example, you could go into the form and change the colour of the button. So let's say you wanted the buttons to be pink, because that would be really in keeping with the awful colour combination that we've currently got going on. And that's what it would look like there. So I'd really encourage you to have a play around, try out different things, go into MailChimp, build it, design it, change some of the color settings, change some of the layouts, until you're happy with it. Once you're happy with it, start putting it everywhere that you can think of. So whether that's on your social media, whether that's to existing customers whose email addresses you've already acquired, to message out to those people and say, I started a newsletter, would you like to sign up? Here's the link to do so. Just be aware of the different permission marketing laws for email in your country or state. I might do a video on this in the future. It's a little bit complicated because it does vary by country and state. I think one of the key things you really need to be mindful about is what is it that is compelling enough to get somebody to sign up to your email newsletter, and what can you give them exclusively for doing so? And like I mentioned earlier, maybe that's a discount, maybe that's an invitation to an exclusive event, or maybe it's a 2-for-1 offer, or if you run a restaurant, maybe it's a glass of Prosecco free when you order a main on a Tuesday night. Whatever it is, it needs to be something that's truly beneficial to the recipient, and your content that you do on an ongoing basis needs to be engaging, and it needs to help these people in some way. So think about how you can best serve your customers, rather than thinking, how much money can I make out of them? How many sales can I make out of them? Think about how you can serve them, and the sales will come from that. Finally, let's just go through and look at what happens when we use this URL after we've signed out of our MailChimp account. All right, so just put your URL for your form, and you'll see, there it is. Now, like I said before, the beauty of this is you don't even need a website. MailChimp allows you to do this for free, and that means you can get collecting email addresses sooner rather than later. So put in your own information. So mine's MailChimp at technotheals.com for anybody who wants to drop me a line, ask me some questions. I'll try and get back to you. So when am I next a year older? Let's say 27th of July. Phone number. I'm just going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I definitely don't want you to have my number. And I'm going to opt for the HTML format. Let's click on this. Subscribe to list. Right. Before we subscribe you, we need to confirm you're a human. Now, this essentially just ensures that people who are signing up to your emailer are actually people rather than an automatically generated program that's often used by people who are trying to hack your system and so forth. Now go back and log into your MailChimp account and have a look at your list and make sure that that entry you just made is in your list. So I've just come to my list and I've looked at my subscribers, and I just signed up but there's no one in here. Now why is that? That's because in MailChimp, when you sign up to a form or to a newsletter, you're automatically sent an email that you need to confirming that you'd like to be added to that newsletter. So what you need to do is go into the email address that you use to sign up for this, confirm that you'd like to sign up for it, and then come back into your MailChimp account and make sure that you are in there as a subscriber. Now, I'm going to do another video in the future about how to change the content that is automatically generated by MailChimp, asking recipients to confirm that they would like to subscribe. So please subscribe to my channel and subscribe to my newsletter. I'm going to put the link on the screen again now. Ding! And you'll be first to know when that video is out. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you found it useful. If you've got any questions, please ask in the comments below. Check out the other tutorials in my channel to learn how to get better at MailChimp and email marketing in general.